We continue our coverage of the Battle for Texas 19 with, I think we're up to 55 candidates who have at least thought about running for Texas 19. Lubbock Mayor Glen Robertson in studio, who had his campaign kickoff earlier this week. Mayor, welcome back.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, I will ask every single candidate this question.
Okay.
And in this way. Congress's approval rating is at 12%, maybe 78%
Yes.
of people are against Congress. It's not pretty. Criticism all over the place about Congress. Why do you want to run for Congress?
Because I feel the same way as the people that are telling you they're unhappy with Congress. We're sending people to Congress that have no courage and no conviction. And it's time that we send proven leaders up there that will stand tall and fight for what they believe in and not get up there and just bow down to that Washington elite. Well,
and that is something that you obviously you have followed politics. You've been involved in politics, and especially here on the city level. So you have that experience of dealing with controversy,
right.
Dealing with egos. Is that something that you tie into this race and say, look, I've handled it here on the city level, and I've handled it in my own personal businesses. I can go to Washington, D.C. and handle what they throw at me.
There's no doubt. I'm absolutely the only one in this race that has a combination of 40 years of business experience almost, combined with over 25 years of public service, serving either on school boards, city council, as mayor, electric utility board. I think in just the fact, if you look what we've done the last 3.5 years in the city of Lubbock and how I have been able to manage a very diverse council that's way left of center and still be able to get things done and look at how great Lubbock's doing right now. So we're going to talk about that a lot during the campaign, but I really want to drive back to issues.
Well, and that is something that in your campaign announcement you had, I believe it was 10 strategic points.
Yes.
I think we could label those of issues that you want to focus on. What are some of those key issues that you're running for?
Well, and I put them on there, and they're not in any order. But I'm so tired of candidates getting in this race and other races, and all they want to talk about is labels, and I'm Mr. Conservative or I'm the real conservative. Tell me what you want to talk about. I want to talk about securing our border. I want to talk about banning sanctuary cities. I want to talk about repealing and replacing Obamacare. I don't know that we've talked enough about the effect that Obamacare has had on small businesses and cities across this nation. We found out here last week in the city of Lubbock it's going to cost our taxpayers $330,000 because of Obamacare. We've got to stand up and go fight those things. In West Texas, you better be willing to stand up and talk about food, fiber, and fuel. Understand that those industries, the ag industry, the energy industry, truly are the base of our economy.
Well, and you bring up agriculture.
Yes.
It's taking a big hit, it looks like, in this budget deal that's being worked out right now. Cotton farmers are worried about losing crop insurance. If you were in Congress right now, how would Congressman Robertson deal with this?
I'd vote against the bill that's on the floor today. It's absolutely ludicrous. They're attacking a private insurance funding portion of the ag bill. Now, understand the ag bill is $1 trillion over 10 years, so about $100 million per year. Over 78% of that is the food stamp program. They're going to attack the cotton farmers who were attacked 2 years ago in this ag bill. Mm-hmm. They've already lost 30% of the funding that they had in that bill. So now we're going to go after them and attack them for an additional $3 billion. Now, that's why we're sitting there with almost $80 billion a year still in the SNAP program. We've got to separate those two, and we've got to understand that agriculture, fuel, those things are truly national security. We're starting as a nation to become dependent on foreign nations for our basic needs. We cannot afford to allow that happen.
Is this something with the cotton farmers worried about losing crop insurance? Is this something that it should be fought now, or should this have been something that was made a larger issue months ago, maybe even years ago?
Well, cotton got left out of the farm bill. And I'll tell you, the farmers were all right with that. I've never met a farmer yet that wants a government handout. Every farmer I've ever sat down with says, all I want is a level playing field. Well, we're sitting there, we're forcing them to compete against foreign countries that we've got trade agreements with, and we expect corrupt foreign governments to abide by these trade policies. They're taking the technology that our growers have paid for. They're not operating under the regulatory environment that we have to operate under. So our federal government has created a playing field that absolutely gives China, Brazil, India, foreign countries an advantage over our growers. Our growers don't want a handout. They want to be able to compete fairly, and we've got to get folks in D.C. that understand that and will fight for that level playing field.
You during your campaign announcement, you said that you would match dollar for dollar.
Yes.
And that created quite a buzz, that you would match dollar for dollar personal contributions that people make. I know Rob Snyder asked you if there was a cap on that. If suddenly you start getting just, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of contributions, are you willing to keep going forward with that?
I am. And this isn't a campaign trick. This is absolutely the way I feel about this. If you as a candidate are not ready to put your own money, put skin in the game, and partner with the people of West Texas and the big country, these congressional campaigns, this is a big business. You've got to sit here and literally in about 30 days create a small business that can raise $1 million to $1.5 million. Mm-hmm. You've got to go out there. You've got to put teams together. You've got to put ads together. It is expensive to get your message out there. But if you're going to do it, you need to do it and do it right. I am committed to matching every individual contribution that anybody within this district will make to me between now and the March primary. And I think that it's, go to opensecret.org and look at the money that flows into these congressional races, where it comes from, and then ask yourself, why is about 60 to 70% of the money in these congressional campaigns coming from super PACs that are representing various lobbies? They want something in return, and we've got to get candidates that'll jump in here and say, I want to partner with you. So this isn't just a campaign trick. This is me saying I want to partner with everybody in the district.
Will the Glen Robertson campaign accept super PAC money?
I will if we sit down and we understand that, number one, their values align with mine. I'm not going to take super PAC money from somebody that is opposed to border security or is opposed to pro-life. I want to make sure that if I'm taking money from anybody that we're on the same page. But the other thing is they have to know that I am the one candidate in this race. I'm not for sale. I've proven that as mayor. I've proven it my entire career. And it's got to be up front on the table that, you know what, I'll partner with you. And I'll go to D.C. and I'll represent this district the best I can. But you're not going to buy my vote on anything.
So the super PAC money that you would accept only from people who basically have the same values,
exactly,
same end game as you.
I will tell you, there's organizations out there that I'd accept money from. Most of them are ag related. The Cattlemen's Association, they do a tremendous job. The American Cotton Growers Association. There's folks out there that get involved in these type of campaigns. Now, they don't write huge checks, but they will support candidates that they know will go to D.C. and fight for what they believe in. But I think that's the key. Those folks are coming to us because they know what I stand for, and if our values align, then we'll sit down at the table and discuss it.
We'll take the break. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion with Lubbock Mayor Glen Robertson, running for Texas 19 Congressman. And when we come back, we've got many other issues to get into with Glen Robertson. Back on the Chad Hasty Show, News Talk 790 KFYO, Lubbock Mayor Glen Robertson in studio discussing his campaign for Texas 19. Mayor, during your announcement speech and one of your strategic points that you had policy that you had talked about was sanctity of life.
Yes.
And I want to bring this up because there have been Republicans and Democrats who have said, guys, the social issues that have been decided, whether it be gay marriage, whether it be abortion, it's time to move on to other topics. You've put it forward in your campaign as one of your top 10 issues.
And it has to stay there. We can't give up the fight. And that's what's frustrating me about what's happening in D.C. We send people up there that talk really strong on a campaign trail. They get up there and they lose one battle and they quit. Now, we've got to realize that the losses that we have suffered as Republicans and as conservatives have been because we have not went up there and defended the Constitution of the United States of America. We're sending people up there that don't understand what the Constitution is, and they don't understand that we have allowed, literally since the 1940s, and you can almost go back to the New Deal program, and watch that we've had the federal government chip away at our individual liberties, and they've gutted the Constitution. So while we can't be a one or two subject campaign, we've got to talk about all these issues, and we've got to talk about them repeatedly. We've got to talk about them loud. But we need to understand that there's underlying failures in D.C. that are making us lose these battles. So I'm going to talk a lot about the Constitution. I'm going to talk a lot about the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and how this great country was founded, and what our founding fathers envisioned, and how far we are from where they really envisioned us headed.
You see the split in the Republican Party.
Yes.
And people have talked about this, it seems like, for years now, this battle between the Republican Party. Is there a right side, a wrong side? Is there a reason why the divisions within the Republican Party are so separated right now?
I think so. We've got an establishment elite in the Republican Party that have moved to D.C., and they feel like that they're now not only entitled to their seats, but they truly believe that they're smarter than the rest of us and that they know what's good for us. Term limits, and I would have been against term limits 20, 30 years ago. But what we've got in D.C. now, where we've got lifetime politicians that move up there and stay 30 and 35 years, and they get so entrenched in this good old boy fraternity network that they forget where they came from. So, I think this strong conservative movement that we're seeing it because people are frustrated. They're tired of people going to Congress and forgetting where they came from.
Let me ask you this, because it seems like you're talking about going to Washington and being a fighter.
Yes.
And something that I've brought up on my show is I think listeners, voters are tired of hearing, well, I'm conservative. If you're running out here, unless you're running as a Democrat, you're going to say you're conservative.
Exactly.
When you get to D.C., you have to prove it. Let me ask you this. Is there anything worth shutting down the government over?
Yes, every 10 point on my list. Now, I'm going to tell you, I heard another candidate dodge the question for 5 minutes. Now, we've got a president right now that is abusing executive power like no president in the history of this great country. And it's our fault as Republicans for sending cowards to D.C. Understand that the separation of powers that is given to us under the Constitution, the one hammer in our toolbox as Congress is the power of the purse. It's the only tool we have. And I am so tired of hearing people say, well, the Republicans are shutting down the government. It's absolutely ludicrous. They're using the only tool, or they should be using the only tool they have, to force the president to make a decision. If the government gets shut down, it's because of the president of the United States. It's not because we elected congressmen that had the backbone to go to D.C. and do what's right.
Visiting with Mayor Glen Robertson running for Congress, and we're discussing the shutdown theory that is out there. What have you, and again, I know you're not privy to all the discussion over the budget deal and everything there, but what do you think about the discussion that's going on right now over that, and whether or not at the end of the year we still may have another budget battle, another shutdown battle?
We've got people selling out in D.C. today on this vote on the budget issues that we've got going on now, where they're attacking the insurance program of the Ag Bill, and yet they're leaving all these entitlement programs alone. Mm-hmm. Here again, 78% of that farm bill is food stamps, and you don't see them attacking those entitlements. You don't see them going after the wasteful spending that we've got all over this country, mainly because we've got a federal government that is involved in businesses they need to stay out of. So, I don't like the fact we're already talking about extending the debt ceiling. Mm. We're at almost $19 trillion. We've got almost $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities that my grandkids are going to inherit. We need to quit talking about raising that debt ceiling and figuring out a way to cut where we can cut. we talk about shutting the government down, and they talk about non-essential government employees. If they're non-essential, let's get rid of them.
You bring up the debt ceiling. You have one presidential candidate, Ben Carson, who says, "Hey, if I were president, we're not going to lift the debt ceiling. We're going to go another direction." If you were in Congress, would you be okay with that?
Yes, I would. We cannot continue to increase this debt ceiling. We've got to say we're there. We cannot sustain this anymore. We have created a debt so large, the only way we can get out of this debt now is to inflate our way out of it. And that's going to hurt every individual, every hardworking man and woman in the United States, and every small business.
With Congressman Nagelbauer on his way out, and not asking you to bash or do anything like that to exiting congressman. Right. But what are some things that you would do differently than Congressman Nagelbauer?
My focus would be more on ag than Randy's was. Not anything against Randy. Randy's focus was on financial services, and he was very strong on that. I think the main difference you would see between me and not just Congressman Nagelbauer, but virtually every congressman, all 435 of them, is you're going to see me back in the district. You're going to see me back in every county, all 29 counties within District 19, visiting with the people and asking them, what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong, and taking that kind of information back to D.C. and trying to literally be a voice for the people.
Do you think that the ties to some of the financial aspects that Nagelbauer is part of, do you think that is that something that you would tie yourself into as well?
I will tell you the direction I'd try to get when I got to D.C. would, number one, is I'd work as hard as I could to get on that ag committee. Number two, I'd work as hard as I could to get on the appropriations committee. I want to be on the ag committee because West Texas is agriculture.
Right.
I want to be on the appropriations committee because that's where the power is, and that's where you can go in and do the most good and try to turn this country back around.
What did you think overall of John Boehner's leadership?
I felt like it was weak. And it's real easy for me to sit out here in District 19 as a mayor and criticize the leadership of the Republican Party. And I will tell you that I have been very critical of our leadership. I'm smart enough to know that when I get there, there's a whole other side of this story, and that you can't go up there and just take the gloves off and start swinging. I will tell you I am more concerned about the division within our party than I am the liberals or the far left. I'm more concerned about the division within our party than I am foreign countries, because we are tearing ourselves up. We're so busy about fighting about small issues that we've taken our eye off the ball. We're not looking at the front side anymore, and we're looking at the rear side. You can't do that. So I don't want to bash current leadership or future leadership. I'll disagree with them, and I'll have no problem standing up in a room and arguing my point and what I believe is the point of view of West Texans and people from the big country. But we're headed in the wrong direction, not only as a country but as a party. We've got to get back on track.
Visiting with Glen Robertson, mayor of Lubbock, Texas, also running for Congress. And as we wrap this up, when you look at you've brought up the division, you've brought up leadership in D.C., and quite a bit of other issues out there. You're still serving as mayor,
yes,
of Lubbock, and a lot of people, and I've received emails. Are you going to be able to do both of these jobs? Being mayor full time, running for Congress, more than a full time job. Yes. Will you be able to do both of them in your mind?
I will, and I'll serve until the end of May. When I was elected mayor, it's supposed to be a part time job. I immediately started putting in 60 hours a week. I'm to the point now where I put about 40 hours a week in as mayor. I have the health and the stamina to run this race hard, and I don't mind working 70, 80 hours a week. That's my background. I was taught the value of hard work. I like working. I'm going to hit the campaign hard, but I'm going to continue to be the best mayor that I can be for the city of Lubbock.
Where are y'all heading to next?
We'll be in Plainview, Littlefield, Levelland. Will be kind of the next leg of the trip. then it's starting to really punch out to some of the smaller communities. You know, we need to get in the cotton gins, but right now, thank God, the cotton farmers are out in the field trying to get the cotton out of the field. So we'll let those men and women get their work done, and then we'll kind of make an ag tour after that.
All right, Mayor Glen Robertson, running for Congress, Texas 19. Glen for Congress?
GlenForCongress.com.
Yeah. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Good to see you. We'll visit with you as the campaign continues as well.
Thank you.